Welcome to Open Your Mouth and Speak. I'm co-host Monica DeJesus, survivor, motivator, and most importantly, servant of the Lord. And my co-host Hallelujah DeJesus is absent today. But nevertheless, we are here encouraging others to heal with God through his grace and mercy. You're tuning in to womeninspirationalradio.org and also on the YouTube channel. And today's topic is another episode of child sexual abuse. But this time we're speaking with Latoya Love Moses. She's going to tell her testimony about child sexual abuse. And because she is an adult now, moving into how that looks as an adult. So you're tuning in to Open Your Mouth and Speak. Okay, and I wanted to read Romans 8:28. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. And I'm saying that because just thinking about your story, Latoya, you have made like a whole 360. Mm-hmm. And your story is extraordinary. And I'm so thankful that you allow me the opportunity to interview you. So I want to jump right in. Definitely want to ask you, at what age did the abuse begin?
It began at the age of 4.
Okay, and what was one of the most traumatic memories that you have as a child going through sexual abuse?
If we cover around that time at the age 4, I remember when it first happened. I remember being asleep and woken up and not knowing, what was going on. It wasn't someone was just touching me, and then they advised me if I had said anything that it was going to be a problem, like I was going to be badly hurt, and as a 4-year-old, I kind of believe hey, this person will really hurt me if I said something.
Yeah, that sounds scary. It does.
But the most interesting part about that is, as an adult, when I look back, that person was also a child. So.
Would you say, and I know we don't want to call names, mm-hmm. but like a lot of people think that abuse happens from people that you do not know, total mm-hmm. strangers. Mm-hmm. But that's like all not true. It usually happens with people that are close to you. Mm-hmm. So what about that person?
Yeah, it most definitely. A lot of times, a lot of abuse, and even over the years, as I speak with other young people, other young women, it's most of the time it starts with a family member, and in my case, it was a family member, they were young. They were a child as well. But when you're that young and you're a child yourself, mm-hmm. A child doesn't look like a child at the age of 4. You can be a teenager and that's not a child to you. That's an adult to you.
Right.
Right. So. Mm-hmm.
And so moving forward, would you say that maybe it just happened at one time, it was isolated, or did it occur any other time?
It did occur another time. I believe it was several times, but there are only 2 times in particular where it disturbed me more. I think the very first time because it was new, mm-hmm. and the last time that it happened because I was very uncomfortable and I had enough.
Well, were there any signs? Like, did the adults around you know what happened, or?
No, none of the adults knew what was going on, at all. because of the threat, um, it. I made sure that I didn't mention anything. And to be honest with you, during that time, there wasn't. They didn't actually have sex with me, but it was a lot of fondling and uncomfortable. Because I think I would remember that. I think it was the last time where it was an attempt to try, and that's when I requested to go home.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when everything stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so moving forward, was there any other times, like in your childhood, even if you weren't as small as 4 years old, that molestation occurred?
Yes. I'm not quite sure. The age can be off, and I also want to just make sure you understand that a lot of this, there's a lot of missed and bad memory when it comes to certain things.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember certain parts of things that just stick out in my head. Not saying that I can think about what happened before or after these things, but I do remember at some point, I think I was a teenager when there was maybe like a guy, a babysitter boyfriend, and I'm not saying it was at the time my mother worked a lot, so she had a lot of she had roommates or whatever the case may be, and they had children and they had a babysitter, the babysitter boyfriend, that type of thing. I remember a guy who was calling himself my boyfriend, and he was a lot older. At the time, of course, at that age, after going through a series of things during that time, I didn't even understand or realize that was, inappropriate.
Mm-hmm.
But he was definitely a lot older, and I remember, I didn't want him actually coming around, but he would always keep popping up at my house when my mother will go to work. Mm-hmm. So, and I don't know what his age was, but I know he was a lot older than me.
What did he do?
He would basically come in. At first, he would come in and just try to be like a friend. Like he acted like he was a friend at first, and he would come all the time and talk to me, and then before you know it, he was filling me up. And at the time it because I was seeking attention, because at some point you, even when I think about it, even now, it would have been nice if somebody just asked me what happened, what happened to me, even though I didn't tell anybody. It's almost like as a young girl, you want somebody to know that something is wrong.
Right, and maybe you showed the signs, but nobody
paid attention. It was always like, she just want attention, or she just acting out, or she fresh, or whatever the case may be. But, as young people, you don't know how to really cry out for help when you really need the help. You try little things without being out of, and especially growing up back then, there was limitations on what you can say, talk about, or whatever. And I don't think I can remember having someone that I felt safe and comfortable with just sharing.
So there was nobody to
not at the time until I lashed out.
What age was that? Do you remember?
When I lashed out,
Mm-hmm.
I was probably the age 12. So before that adult man, I had never actually had sex with anyone that, besides that voluntarily.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I was still a virgin. And I had a boyfriend, and the boyfriend was very active, and it was a group of people I was hanging around, and they were active, but I wasn't active.
Sexually active?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I remember I ended up losing that boyfriend because his brother, forced himself on me. And that was the first time I actually voluntarily that I, you know what I'm saying, that since the time that I can remember, I think when I was 4, that was the first time that that I actually had sex, was when the brother forced himself on me. And the boyfriend found out that same day, because the brother, of course, let him know, yep, got her, got your girl, that type of thing. And he was so upset with me. He's like, well, you got to give it to me now. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing that. He forced himself, and he was so mad. And so I wrote this letter to him, to the boyfriend, and it had all kinds of crazy stuff in it, talking about what I was going to do, and wasn't going to do nothing. But I wrote all this stuff in there about what I was going to do. And the teacher got the letter. One of my friends, he's no longer with us, but he asked to read the letter, and I showed it to him. And it was just basically a bunch of lies of what, like I'm, about that life. And the teacher found it and mailed it to my mother. And that was when, my mother, and, I had to tell my mom, like, hey, wait a minute, you're upset. You don't even know me. You don't even know what happened to me, type of thing. And she, was like, what are you talking about, that type of thing. And then I shared with her. And that was very painful for my mother and I at that time, because for her, she was still young. And my mom's she's a very protective mother. So in that moment, I can only imagine what that did for her, feeling like she did not protect me and couldn't protect me. So she was very, very tight about letting me go places at all.
Right.
So she because she
was
didn't
a
trust
single
him.
mother.
Yeah, she was a single mother, and so she, me, exploding like that, she definitely became even more protective about me being out and doing things.
So this was you, like, when it happened, you kind of went on a rage about talking about what happened at the time.
Well, I told her that I was, that at that age of 4, that I was, that I was touched, or whatever the case may be. I can't remember exactly what I said to her, but I know that when I said it, it hurt her.
And I just want to say, I know this is for another episode, but a lot of times we as parents want to be there for our children, and we don't know how to when we have so much on our plate, especially as single mothers. A lot of people do not realize that it's not that you go out and say, hey, I want someone to touch my child, I want somebody to molest her, but because of your attention to trying to make sure the household, and I'm saying this on behalf of your mother, because of the way that you have to provide for your family and it's just you, it makes it even harder, and your child is more vulnerable because you need someone's help, even though the help that you get may not be the best help. And in your case, all of these other things happen.
Yeah, because I told her, I heard her when I told her she didn't care about me, because if she cared about me, then that wouldn't have happened. And of course, at that time, I'm still a child, so I'm going to say hurtful things.
You don't understand. Right.
So I can only imagine how that may have hurt her and broke her down in that time of me just saying that. But that was a start of that was a start of a different type of relationship for me and her, but it wasn't in a good way.
Right.
Because now I've let it out. Now my guards is up, and now I'm fighting.
And now you really don't want to share anymore.
Right.
Gotcha. And so in saying all of that, I know that anytime your body is violated, anytime things happen to your body, other things come into play. What are some of the things that you feel that you can share that transform you, not only mentally, but even physically in your body, from being molested, from being raped?
Okay, so what happens is that you have this feeling of always like your body is missing something, and I'm going to come from a place of spirituality because that's where I am today.
Right.
So spiritually, I didn't understand that my body was taken over by this sex spirit. that was feeling a need because of the things that have happened to me over the past. So this sex spirit has been attached to me, and it was needy. It was a needy. But then the need didn't have a face anymore to me, if that make any sense.
Yes, it does.
It was just feeding the need, but it didn't have a face.
Right, and I see a lot of people go through that when they have been touched so young as a child. It's like you're not looking at faces anymore. You're looking to that desire that you have. It takes over everything.
But it's a flip side to it, because it wasn't my desire. It was that demon's desire. It's the desire the spirit wanted. It wasn't what I wanted.
Right.
So in the same time that it's happening, I'm still feeling violated. So if that makes any sense, so the need is there. That spirit wants it, has that need. But I'm crying out, like, I'm hurt.
You want to
You're
stop.
taking, yes, I want it to stop completely. So it became that became the problem. I didn't understand it then, but as I grew and got to this point spiritually in my life, I only can go back to what we're doing now is think about what I felt at that time.
Right.
And I remember there was two people involved. It was that spirit and it was myself, who was not ever comfortable with it, never liked it, but that spirit or that demon wanted it.
So it's like I look at it as like a residue. When you are molested as a child, you have no idea what your body is experiencing because you're not grown enough to understand it. But it's the desire is there. Once you've been touched, you can never take it back.
No.
Can't put glue on it. You can't put any tape on it. It's there, and you have to learn how to deal with it. And the way that we deal with it is not always a good way. And I know sometimes it even causes you and your body to, because you're not able to feel the need all the time. A lot of people masturbate. A lot of people use their bodies to fulfill that desire. And I don't know if you want to expound on that.
I would love to, because that is also another, what people don't know is even with the masturbation, that is still connected to that same demon, right? That same spirit that has that need, a sexual need. And as myself, I did pick up on that, but it got to the point where I was comfortable enough with that. It became my replacement for I didn't really need a man if I didn't want to. And which is another problem. None of this fall under the line of what God intended us to be. You know what I'm saying? In regards to that. And I didn't realize that was a problem at one point until I realized that, a man can't satisfy me. I had never had like anything like, and I hope I can be transparent.
Yes.
But I had never had anything like an orgasm or anything like that, because I haven't had any that type of feeling because of what I have been through all my life. So me really getting off, whether what it looks like is not what it looks like, I had never had the experience of that. So for me, when it came to an orgasm, I was only able to give that to myself.
Yes. Wow. And I've heard that before.
So, that was a big, strong, like a big thing for me. And which was the reason why which was one of the reason why I actually continued to have this independency portion of me where I felt like I didn't need a man.
Right. So that would lead me into asking you how that could have caused you to live out your adult life because of your past sexual abuse.
Oh, that's a good one. So, in my adult life, I found it very difficult to, and I'm married, but I found it very difficult to completely be satisfied And it doesn't have, sometimes it didn't have anything to do with my husband or anything at the time. But because of this attachment that I had, that was a place of deliverance that I had to come out of in order for me to feel something, what it was supposed to be like. Like there was a lot of things that that happened. God had started showing me how, or I won't even show me. The Holy Spirit started taking certain things from me to show me that these things were going to create issues and problems as far as in my sexual life with my spouse if I hadn't let them go. And they were things like the toys or whatever, because how can I be pleased or please my spouse if I'm connected to something else that is doing the work? Yes. That's not naturally happening if I'm doing that. There were also other things that the Holy Spirit had showed me, was like when it came down to other extra activities that we add on to things outside of the normal sex life. Oral, all those things are not things that are going to do what God intended us to be able to do when we're in sexual relationships with our spouse. So all of those things kind of came at one time, but it did have a major effect on my life, being connected to the worldly equipment and tools to please myself.
What about, and let's think about like you being in the big city. How did that part play out when it came to you having been dealt with as a child, like taken for granted because people use your body? Were there ever times like as you got older and was able to live out life on your own as an adult, did you get into anything in the streets, as we call it?
Yeah, most definitely. It called me. It was a part of me. It's already attached itself to me. So that would be in my 20s, how they would say it, turn up was real, So I experienced a whole lot of stuff. During those times, that was a very dark place for me, very, very dark place for me. And it didn't just surround just sex, because see, that's just a part of it. You have, alcohol, you have things, other little things that would motivate sexual activities. It can be alcohol, it can be drugs, it can be any of those things, you know what I'm saying, that can motivate, your sexuality. So yeah, it plays a big part being in Atlanta, all of these things, everything that you could possibly want is available for you. Not saying I did everything, but what I'm saying is that was the lifestyle and that was the environment. So having that type of demon on you, skies was definitely the limit when it came to that.
Okay.
So,
and I know that a lot of women I see that have had past experiences of abuse, sexual abuse, they tend to either want to be with women or they want to be with men, but they use men. And it's to the point to where everyone's around them looking at them like, okay, why do you have 2 and 3 men? But they don't know their story. They don't know what happened to cause them to feel the way that they are feeling. Like, I know that something happened there. We all know that. But which way did it take you?
To be honest with you, everybody's was the same to me. I had more male friends and I had women friends, but I also had a lot of women girlfriends that hung around me. And I had some that were close and some were just there for a hot moment because I had so many guy friends around and they were very nice looking guys. So they wanted to be in the mix too. But I treated everybody the same. Nobody was better than nobody.
Meaning?
Okay, so what I mean by that is that there was nobody put on a pedestal. Like I had this, really like no don't care attitude.
Okay.
So I really didn't care, about much.
And when you
about.
say you don't care, that means you don't care about the way you treat them. You don't care how they use their money. Was it like that, or could you expound a little bit more?
Kind of, maybe all of it. All of it. I didn't really have. So when I think about that time in my life, when I said it was dark, it was dark. It was really, I don't care. Like the things that I did care about, I gave it time. Family was important to me, but people wasn't as important to me. And even though I did things for people, I was still, a giving person or whatever the case may be. I really still didn't care, if it made any sense. I don't know. Maybe that's some bringing up or something that always been into me to be a giving person, because even if somebody can tell me today that they remember when I did this and this for them, and I can sit back and say, I don't remember any of that, and I don't even remember caring about you like that. But they said I did something for them that like helped them along the way, or said something that I don't remember, and I really didn't think that I really cared much about them to even do anything for them.
Wow. Right. And so this has definitely been a lot of great information, and because I know that there's so much more in you to give and to tell, we're going to have to do a part 2.
Mm-hmm.
So what we want to do is just come back with another episode with you, if you don't mind, and so that you can continue to give to those listening what it looks like even to be changed from those things, because sometimes it has a deep well. It causes issues in our lives that it's hard to come out of, and some people are still living in silence. They're suffering. Mm-hmm. They need to know how to come out of those things.
Most definitely.
So we definitely would like to do a part 2 with you. And I am, once again, Monica DeJesus, survivor, motivator, and definitely servant of the Lord. I'm here with Latoya Love Moses, telling her story about child sexual abuse, moving into what it looks like as an adult. And we're going to do a part 2 of that. And also, we want to change the narrative from hurt people to hurt people heal and help hurt people. And we want to thank you for tuning in to Open Your Mouth and Speak. Please tune in every Wednesday from 1 o'clock to 1:30 p.m. Check out our hashtags, and we thank you for tuning in, and God bless you.
Dedicated to people like us. Those that struggle with insecurities, acceptance, and even self-esteem. You never felt good enough. You never felt pretty enough. But imagine God whispering in your ear, letting you know that everything that has happened now is gone. Gone, gone, it's gone. Oh.